today's information that I'm going to present to you is something that I've talked about on a couple of times in a couple of different episodes, and today is the day. I'm actually going to talk to you about what they call conscious competence. Now, it's the 4 levels of competence, and what it's going to do is it's really going to help you. I think it's going to help you. I know it helped me a lot to understand where people are up to and why they don't maybe do certain things the way that you think they should do it. How old are you going to be before you start to experience life like you want it? I want to tell you right now, whether you like it or not, there is a better way to do business. Hi everyone, welcome to the Business for Builders podcast. My name's Max, I'm your host. I'm the CEO here at Smith & Sons in Canada, and I'm glad to have you in the house with me. As usual, we want to get some really good information to you and your team to help you build a high-performance, profitable business that you can build safely and securely, of course. Don't forget you can email me direct if you've got any questions. I'll try and get back to you as promptly as I can, max@businessforbuilders.ca, and I will try and respond to your question really quick. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you've got some comments about anything that you see here, that'll end up in my inbox, and I will respond to your wonderful comment, which I do appreciate. Good and bad. I know that we're not always hitting the nail on the head here, no pun intended. But we do our best here to try and provide as much value as possible. So the other thing is the Facebook group, the Business for Builders VIP Facebook group. Get in there if you're a good sort. Hit the join button, and if you're a good sort, I'll let you in, and it'll be a great. That's probably about community collaboration, bit of camaraderie in there as well, and we just sort of started that off. So. We want to make sure that we can equip some of you guys and girls with some of the necessary tools. And that's another thing. If there's something that you're really crying out for, that's something that's a little bit vague or grey or not quite up where it needs to be in your mind, then that's where you can hit me up on email. But look, I'd really encourage you guys and gals inside that Facebook VIP group to just communicate with each other. I know there's a few questions and a few things being asked in that group, and that is what it's all about, guys and girls. So don't be shy. Don't be shy. Okay, so today's information that I'm going to present to you is something that I've talked about on a couple of times in a couple of different episodes, and today is the day. I'm actually going to talk to you about what they call conscious competence. Now, it's the 4 levels of competence. And what it's going to do is it's really going to help you. I think it's going to help you. I know it helped me a lot to understand where people are up to and why they don't maybe do certain things the way that you think they should do it. And so what it does is if you are a little bit challenged in the areas of patience, this, like I am, this might help you understand why people are doing certain things. And potentially, I would like to think that it would help you as an operator as well, because it will help you understand perhaps where you're up to in the learning process in your life. Now, the beauty about this, when this revelation of this information hits you, you will know that it never ever stops. As long as you are alive, you're all about learning something else, I would hope, at some level. So the list is massively long. If you think about the last, thing that you did that was new, and you sort of, you understand that, wow, I'm not very good at this. Like if you're not a guitarist, then that's a good place to start. If I threw you a guitar, you'd be incredibly challenged in just starting by yourself. So the 4 levels of competence, often referred to as conscious competence model, as the conscious competence model. It describes the stages of learning and skill development. So there's 4 points. I'll quickly run through them. This is probably going to be the shortest episode in the world. Competence. The level of competence number 1 is unconscious competence. Number 2 is conscious incompetence. Number 3 is conscious competence, and number 4 is unconscious competence. So it's a little bit of a tongue twister, and I've got to make sure that you're throwing the uns and the non-un words in the right spot. But what we're going to do is we're going to quickly drill down on each of those 4 and it will help you as a leader for your team and your group and your business, but it will also help you in your own personal leadership and development. Now, just a side note, pivot slightly. We have the 5 M's when we're sort of thinking about what we do. In the business, there's this overarching macro, 5 M's, which is mindset, management, marketing, mentoring, and mastery. And what you're trying to do is anything that we do, like, on the weekend, we'll race in go-karts. Like I said, I play in a rock and roll band, so I was busy last night just learning how to play Honky Tonk Woman. And so there's all of these things where we're always breaking into new areas. And if you're aware as to where you're up to, this can really help you develop and actually give you a little bit more patience when it comes to either working with team to increase their ability and performance, and also you as a business owner and operator and leader, it gives yourself some air cover and some slack to actually allow yourself to develop going forward. So the first one there is unconscious incompetence. At this stage, a person is unaware of their lack of skill or knowledge in a particular area. They may not recognize that they don't know how to do something or that they have room for improvement. Now, this one is the most scary because what you've got, and look, it's funny because I intuitively assess people off the back of this. I can watch somebody, swing a door, let's say, and know straight away they are unconsciously incompetent because the door gaps aren't right, the way they set it up is wrong, the wind on the door is wrong, it's just done terribly. And unfortunately, they don't even know. They think when they look at the finished product, they think it's acceptable, but when I look at it, I really don't like it. And so, if you start there as a foundation point, I think this is why when you look at it, you think this person has been in the game for a long time and they're challenged or they're struggling with something that I think would be carpentry 101. So what's happening? Well, they lack the self-awareness. Now, I don't know that it's that individual's problem, or I don't know that it's that individual's fault all the time, because it really, like I say, I mean, I've got 6 kids, right? I've been married now for 28 years this year. And, I would always sort of subscribe to the fact there's no such thing as bad kids. There's just bad parents. But that's almost like it just flows down from the generation before them. So we've got to be understanding that if someone is displaying that level of consciousness that is unconsciously incompetent, it's probably because they lack the leadership or the training, and maybe they do lack the natural talent that it takes to put it together. So that really is the starting point. So it's like me when I was a first-year apprentice. There is no question, unconsciously incompetent across the board. Like there was just, I was just probably cocking everything up and didn't even know it. And that's really what we're talking about. So if that helps you in your assessment, of yourself in some cases, then of course of people in and around your business, then I think all of a sudden you're going to go out there like you've got X-ray vision goggles on, and all of a sudden you can actually understand the mechanics of the humans that are in and around your business. So that's good. Okay, so let's step up the next one. So we're starting to move into the positive realm now. Point number 2 of conscious competence is where they are consciously incompetence. Now, if we go back to the door swinging analogy, all of a sudden now, once you've run some, pointers past this individual and said, look, your wind's not right, you're not addressing that up front, your door margins are no good, your trim margins are too big, all of a sudden when they go and do either the next job or the next door, all of a sudden it's like the veil's been pulled off their eyes, and all of a sudden they're going, okay, so now Max has asked me for a 1/8 gap, and he's asked me for a 3/16 reveal. Or if you're in Australia, New Zealand, that'll be a 3mm quirk, although 3/16 is more like 1/8. That just side note, the whole imperial metric thing, it just turns my head inside out. So I'm to all the imperial guys, hats off to you fellas for being able to do fractions, because I did not start in school as a fraction person. But So when I'm talking to a carpenter and all of a sudden I've revealed to him how that I set a door up, how I go about setting my margins up, even the processes of just, creating those types of things or details in that process. But it doesn't, now that he understands or she understands where I'm or where they're deficient, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're instantly going to do it properly. Now that means they are still doing it wrong, but they are understanding where they're going wrong, and now they're moving towards trying to correct their deficiencies. So that's a good thing. So point number 3, conscious competence. So this is where now you've got someone who didn't have a clue, where they were really not necessarily doing a good job. Then you've got someone who now is aware of where their deficiencies are. And now you've got into point number 3, you've got conscious competence. And so this is where this individual now is really understanding. So actually, I'll back up. Conscious incompetence. I'll read that one out. In this stage, a person becomes aware of their lack of competence in a specific skill or area of knowledge. They recognize that there is something they don't know and can't do, and understand the need for further learning or development. So that's where they're sort of starting to go, okay, I'm not getting this right, but I'm aware that I've got to start learning. Point number 3, conscious competence. At this stage, an individual has acquired the knowledge or skill through learning and practice, but performing it requires conscious effort and concentration. They can demonstrate proficiency, but it requires focus and may not yet be automatic or effortless. And so, that's kind of where, I guess, for me personally, outside of work, when I go and start learning new parts, for our Rolling Stones tribute band, for me, I would say that I'm fairly unconsciously competent playing guitar. But when I've got to learn something specific, and something like Honky Tonk Woman, where there's different tuning on the guitar, and I've got to, and then there's certainly there's mannerisms and there's techniques that Keith Richards uses to get that sound for Honky Tonk Woman. It really does put me back into this conscious competence. So I know that I can play the guitar. I've got a fairly good understanding of the fretboard and where it's at. But I have to really work hard on listening to the original and then really reproducing the sound from an effects rack, and then also, really working out timing and my finger positions and things like that. So I am really, having to be very conscious. I've got to put conscious effort and concentration into it. And I've got proficiency there, but it requires focus. And it's not quite automatic, and it's not effortless. There's a lot of concentration. So that's where, as a performer, for me, I'm not ready to hit the stage, because really, when you're going to go and play live music, you really want to be in the unconsciously competent realm, where you're not really having to think; it just happens. And so, of course, this is where lots and lots of rehearsal happens. All that practice happens behind the scene and in my jam space, so that it lays the foundation, so that when I go out on stage, I can do my part as a lead guitarist in that band, and I do it unconsciously competent. So, and that brings us to our 4th point. So unconsciously or unconscious competence, this is the final stage that is reached when a person has mastered a skill to the point where they can perform it effortlessly and without conscious thought. It becomes second nature to them, and they can execute the skill or knowledge with ease. And this is often referred to as being in the groove. And that really does apply to music, because, I spent probably 2 hours working on that introduction and that song. And, of course, you're trying to figure it out. And so what you're trying to do is just the basics. You're just trying to figure out what's the tuning, and where's the finger locations, what's the timing. But it was funny, by the time I got done, it was in that realm where I thought, okay, I'm now starting to feel this, and it's becoming very much second nature, and it feels like I'm in the groove. So this is a really sweet place to be. Now, that unconscious competence has come from me. I've been playing guitar now for 34 years, like, and on and off. And only really lately did I get time to sort of get serious. I opted out of a bunch of stuff when I was young. And so really only now I've been able to, I've got a designated space at home, and I, every so often, a couple of nights a week, I might just jump out there and really devote a couple of hours. It's easy for me to go out there and spend 2 hours a night. So about 4 hours a week to really doubling down on and taking my conscious competence and converting that to unconscious competence, whereby I just know intuitively where to go and what to do and where to put my fingers and what song is in what key and that sort of thing. So being in the flow, being in the groove, that applies to, you want your team and your operators, especially if you've got workers on payroll, but definitely as well as, having good subs who just know, we know when we're in the flow with one of our trades particularly, because they just go to job sites and they just execute. What you're looking for, I think, in your recruitment process, whether you're recruiting team, in-house on payroll, or whether you're actually trying to recruit subcontractors, listening or watching and seeing how they go, are they choppy, or are they clunky, or are they really just smooth, and are they in the flow? That's really a good indication that you've got yourself a human resource that is unconsciously competent, and that is the piece to resist on. So, I mean, you really want to go for that. That's a really great. If it's really hard for you to work with them. Now, if you've got to ascertain whether or not whereabouts you're up to in your business leadership, because I know there's a lot of guys that are unconsciously competent in, on the tools out doing framing. But when you get those suckers in the office, oh my word. And I've seen this in the Smith & Sons group. They are just unconsciously incompetent as it relates to, certain things in the business side of things, in the business management, the financial assessment. They are. Now, then there's guys who go, I realize I am really bad at getting my books done, or I don't look at my P&Ls on a monthly basis, and they know it. So what they're trying to do is they realize that there's got to be a lot of work put in, and so then they start really doubling down and activating different aspects of their life and reorganizing their calendar and making sure that they can focus on what it is that they need to get into that zone where they are now unconsciously competent. And that effectively is mastery, which is the fifth M of the 5 M's that we have at Business for Builders and Smith & Sons, because mastery is where you've got the mindset right, your management systems are underway and happening, your marketing is on point, just needing tweaks along the way. You've got some sort of mentoring and coaching. You've got something going on, because I'm telling you, mentoring and coaching is the preface to mastery, because you even if you go and learn guitar, but you don't have a coach in the room, YouTube can help you with that. Now, I'm not saying that that's how you should do it. Side note, I'm not a very good guitar teacher because I know how to do it. I'm just not good at transferring the information, so don't ask me for lessons. But, mentoring and coaching is almost like that's such an important ingredient. Actually, I only got a text from a guy on the weekend who's saying, "Hey, Max, how do I get in touch with you?" He's a local guy here, not in the Smith & Sons group. But he's already reaching out saying, "Hey, I know I need help." So important, because if you don't have someone telling you that your shit stinks, you might just carry on and think you're doing okay, and then wondering why in 10 years you're not getting results. And so, faithful are the wounds of a friend. You've just got to find somebody who you can trust, who's close to you, that can perhaps, with love, point out some of the gaps and some of the deficiencies in your process to help you grow. And that's why it can be challenging at times as a coach, because sometimes we've kind of got to give a little bit of correction, very similar to being a parent. And I've been doing that for a little bit. And you're human, so you get frustrated as well as a coach and as a mentor. But at the end of the day, we want to see growth, and we want to see that safe and secure, increase in your life, in your business, really, against the individual that you are. Because the more you learn, the more you grow, the more you earn. And so it's really important that we get that sorted out. So in closing, these stages of competence can apply to various areas of life, from learning a new language, or like I was talking about, playing an instrument, to developing your leadership skills, or mastering a professional discipline. Progressing through these stages usually requires practice, feedback, and continued learning. So the minute I got into this position as CEO, all of a sudden the floodgates opened and I realized how much I didn't know, and really there wasn't a lot in my past that was going to help me move forward. There was a little bit there, but it certainly was a massive learning curve and still is. There's still continued learning. So, I would encourage you guys and gals to not get beat down if you're not, if things aren't working out and you're maybe not getting the traction that you need, but maybe it's somewhere in these 4 points here of, unconscious incompetence, conscious incompetence, conscious competence, and unconscious competence. Find out where you're up to there. And those 4 things can relate to different pillars in your life and different facets in your life and different things. And you can just keep reapplying this assessment tool to figure out, okay, where am I up to in that regard? So hope that helps. Be sure to email me, max@businessforbuilders.ca, if you've got any questions. Leave some comments and like and subscribe, all that kind of wonderful stuff. And don't forget to head across to the Business for Builders VIP Facebook group, the private group there. Hit the join button. If you're a good sort, I'll let you in. And we look forward to building that community, collaborating with you guys and gals as much as we can, and really building these high-performance building companies. Go build a kick-ass business. I will see you on the next episode. Cheers.